Hey everyone, we are officially live. Welcome to the Bushwick Film Festival's youth panel. It's your girl Nase. So thanks so much for joining us. Today is our second day of the Instagram Live conversations with our young filmmakers of color. We'll be discussing their roles as storytellers, how their films can be seen as catalysts for social change, and their intersectional perspectives on the Black Lives Matter movement. Today we'll be speaking with Kevon Edwins, Laquan Dawson, and Sania Hyatt, who took part in our 2018 Summer Filmmaking Workshop sponsored by B&H and Canon, created to empower local youth with the tools to tell their own stories and encourage them to see the film industry as a viable professional pathway. So, first up, we're going to be welcoming Kevon Edwin. Let's get that clapping, that audience clap. Yes. All right, come on out, Kevon. All right, guys, you just enjoy the sounds of clapping for a moment. They're coming through the curtains now. It's coming through the curtains now. It's slow. This is welcome.
Hey, there's a whole clap going on. I love it.
Yeah, I have it all prepared. Don't even worry about it.
You're the
Welcome.
best. You're the best. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Glad to have you. How are you today?
I'm doing really wonderful. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for asking. So for the fans out there, could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, sure. I'm originally from St. Lucia, and I traveled to the U.S. a few years ago to pursue my dream of becoming an actor. I studied at the Lee Strasberg Theater and Film Institute under their conservatory program for 2 years as an actor, built my skills there, and since then I've been working in the industry, doing productions as an actor, short films, feature films. Currently blessed to have a solid management team behind me, really helping me to, find my way in the industry and get my footing in and get my breakthrough. So really blessed to have that, and just, writing and working and just doing all that I can as an artist.
Fantastic. And where are you based out of?
Based out of New York right now.
Lovely. Last time we had our LA filmmakers, so today we got New York. So I'll start you off with an easy one. It is no secret that you enjoyed Spike Lee's most recent film, The Five Bloods. And you've also
Yes.
expressed you found Delroy Lindo's performance to be the best of 2020 so far.
It
Even though it's not a
is.
lot of movies coming up, but still, that's a very high bar, I think.
Yes, it is. It is. It is.
It really shows that Black actors are given the space to stretch their wings and really thrive when they're able to play more than gang member number five or
Mhm.
thug number two, or whatever tiny, stupid, stereotypical role.
Exactly.
And he's really able to shine bright in that role. So, as an actor and a writer, you understand both sides of this. How do you think the character writing in this film specifically affected Lindo's performance?
Love that question. Love that question. I love that you pointed the fact that it's more than gang number five, because we're no longer getting these roles that are confined to a certain box, that we have to fill out those stereotypes and play out the roles that we're expected to play out. And that's very limiting, because when they give you member five, you're coming on there to without much creative license to do anything, really. You know what I mean? And so when you get a role like Delroy's role in this film, in The Five Bloods, then you really get that great opportunity to like stretch your wings, and that's exactly what he did. And that's, I think, first and foremost, a credit to Spike Lee and Kevin when they came in and rewrote that script, because they went in and they created these characters that were full, that were really grounded, that were rich. And then as an actor, when you put somebody like Delroy and you give him that script, and then he goes and he does his homework and he applies his craft, and then he works that character in, and then you see it on the screen, it's like, of course it's magical. You know what I mean? And as a person of color, you look at him and then you just see an actor, and you're not seeing a Black actor. You know what I mean? And I think that's so important to make that distinction, because you just see an artist creating and doing, their full expressions. And it's just, to me, it was beautiful to see and inspiring to see as an actor myself, an aspiring actor. And as a writer, yeah, those are the kind of, characters and roles that I want to write, and that I want to, see as Hollywood, progresses in this era and stuff. But I want to see more of that, you know what I mean? More of the Barry Jenkins type of Moonlight, or the Ava DuVernays. Like, we want those rich, full stories that display people of color and, you know, minorities in their most authentic way. You know what I mean?
Yes,
It's beautiful.
absolutely. Well put. I couldn't agree more. So, as you were saying, you are credited as a writer, actor, and producer in your most recent short film, Crush. So, kind of building off of that last question, how do you write characters for yourself?
Well, for me, as you know, West Indian native coming from the island of St. Lucia, my personal preference for like writing for myself is always writing characters that speak to my culture and my heritage as a St. Lucian and as a West Indian. So whenever I'm writing, and the stories that I write tend to focus on, you know, our culture and our narratives and creating those kinds of authentic stories for our people. And so I tend to write from that perspective and those lens, because currently, you know, my ultimate dream is to bring forward, you know, our West Indian culture to the forefront of the Hollywood industry. So I want to be the individual to, you know, pave the way in creating these roles and creating those narratives. So when I write for myself, that's kind of where my inspiration like stems from, if you follow my vibe. So yeah, that's where I write from.
Very interesting. So, do you find it more or less difficult to write characters for yourself versus for someone else?
I would say I don't find it too difficult, because I think there's a certain power. I mean, I love being an actor and I love getting a script and then, you know, being able to do my work and just go in and invest in a character and research and, you know, flesh it out. But I think there's a certain power and beauty in being able to write that role for yourself, because then you get to really dictate you know, you get to give yourself that full creative license to, you know, be as authentic to yourself and your expression as you can be. You know what I mean? So I truly appreciate, you know, the ability to write for myself and write those roles. And it's something that I always want to stay true to as I, you know, progress in my career. So, yeah.
So then when you are writing these roles for yourself, do you find yourself taking in your own personality and own life experiences into account, or do you find that you're kind of only focused in on the story and then you bring yourself in as an actor almost like secondary?
You know, that I think it's more of the latter, because I try my best to prioritize the story, because like for example on Crush, I co-wrote it with Shai Frumkin, and for me it's always important, like whenever we met and we were, you know, brainstorming and sketching out ideas, it's like we always put the story first. And I believe that's kind of where I come from, is like the story dictates everything else. You know what I mean? What are we trying to say with this film? What's our message? What's the core? And then allowing, you know, characters and stuff that would serve that story best. You know what I mean? And then, but then in that same breath, when I do write, I do add elements from my life experience and emotional experiences. And though it might not be like parallel to exactly whatever, you know, whatever I'm going through in my life, but there are elements of truth in it. You know what I mean? There's like certain parallels that I draw from my life that maybe the character is emotionally going through, and I sort of just put that in there on a subtext level, you know? So it's a balance between the two. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Yeah. So, as we mentioned earlier, you were a participant in the Bushwick Film Festival Summer Filmmaking Workshop. What was your most valuable takeaway from that?
Yeah. I think for me, I mean, honestly, I would just say like Bushwick Film Festival is literally the best film festival in New York, because I going to that experience, and you know, shout out to Quebe for, you know, bringing me on board for that workshop. It's like that really opened up the world of filmmaking for me, because I think before then I was just an actor and I was still new to, you know, the US and, you know, what filmmaking really means. And though I had my dreams of becoming an actor, I never really understood the roles behind the camera, you know. And that workshop gave me a full perspective of all that it takes as a filmmaker to bring a film through, you know, from lighting to sound to directing. And it really gave me an appreciation for all of those different art forms. And I think the workshop just really opened my eyes a lot. But beyond that, my biggest takeaway would be all the dope filmmakers that I met at the festival, and those individuals that I shared the workshop space with, you know, a lot of who were like up next in this panel, because, you know, I met those individuals like 2 years ago or so, but like we're still friends to this day. I've worked on productions with some of them. Like, you know, those connections to me are probably the most valuable thing that I gained from the workshop. Definitely. Yeah.
Wow, that sounds fantastic. So,
Hmm.
It sounds like you were an actor first, and then you started learning
Yes.
all behind the camera stuff afterwards. Which
Yes.
one do you like
Yes.
better?
Acting. I mean, without question, acting
Really?
is, yes. I mean, acting is the passion, is the dream. You know, it's what I
Mhm.
came here, you know, to the States with in mind, and it's what it's the priority in my life is acting. And, you know, I talk to my management team about that all the time. But like outside of that, I do have an appreciation for writing and for directing and for, you know, everything. Because to me, it's all the pieces help to make the masterpiece. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like, there's no single element that's like, this is the most important. Like, no, they all contribute. You know what I mean?
mm,
So that's how I feel
exactly.
about it.
So how long have you been in the US?
Uh, going on 3 years now. Yeah,
Oh, wow. Okay.
yeah.
Awesome. So, as you know, this panel is also diving into the current Black Lives Matter movement. It's
Yes,
impossible to ignore everything that's happening in the news. As
100%.
someone who is not born and raised in the
Mm.
U.S., how are you coping with the current political climate?
Yeah, I like that because I think, and I get this question a lot because where I'm from, you know, racism, although it is some element of our society, it's not, you know, we don't have police brutality and we don't have it on a systematic level as what's going
Mhm.
on in the United States. You know, even as this is going on currently in the States, like when I check in with my folks back home and my parents and stuff, you know, our climate, it's kind of business as usual for us. It doesn't really affect us directly, you know. So,
Yeah.
but that being said, living here now and as a black person, I really, really, really sympathize with the movement. And,
Mm.
you know, it after seeing what happened to George Floyd, it really sparked that fire within me and just, you know, it put a lot of things into perspective for me. Because personally,
Mhm.
ever since I've been here, I thankfully haven't experienced too much racism on a personal level. And that's just
Mhm.
because I move in certain spaces where it's all about inclusivity. I mean, I'm with artists and, you know, like nobody in that space really, you know, attacks racism. And for me, seeing what happened to George Floyd and stuff, I couldn't stay silent. You know what I mean? And so I had a web series that I run, Black Box Sessions, and I had to, you know, bring those issues to the forefront and, you know, create some poetic um, artistry and, you know, use my voice and my creativity to express certain things. And so I created, I think it was like episode 6, I dedicated to the Black Lives Matter movement, and I dedicated it to George Floyd, and not only George Floyd, but all the other individuals who've suffered at the hands of police. And, you know, the video, it went viral on TikTok. It had like
Great.
2.6 million views. And to
Wow.
me, that was me playing my part in um, protesting and addressing, you know, the racial injustice that we're facing. And
Mm.
like, even now moving forward, like I haven't even been able to come back to a space where I can just create normal content because I like to do entertainment. I like to do talks and stuff. I haven't been able to come back to that space because I still don't think we're in a space where that can happen because the Black Lives Matter movement is still, there's so much work to be done, you know what I mean? And it just doesn't feel right doing anything outside of that. So I
Mm.
do deeply sympathize with the movement and try my best to make sure I'm an active participant in it and
Mhm.
helping to affect change, you know?
Wow, that's a very interesting perspective to have. Can you tell us a
Yeah.
little bit more about Black Box Sessions?
Of course. It really just started because I mean, quarantine happened and everybody got stuck at home.
Mm.
And I feel like as artists, we always have to find some kind of outlet for expressing ourselves. And since I didn't have, you know, my usual areas to go to, like open mics or anything like that, I was like, what am I going to do stuck in the house? So I got my setup and I just started creating the show just as a platform for me to express creatively, spoken word poetry, doing talks, doing comedy sketches, just like a space where I could just create. And, you know, each episode is different. I involve some of my West Indian culture in there. And like, it's just, it's just a space to create, you know? So that's the drive behind it. It's been running for like 7 episodes now for the past 2.5 months. Really
Oh,
happy
wow,
about it.
fantastic.
Oh.
So where can we find the episodes?
You can find it on my IGTV or you can find it on my YouTube channel. So just like, you know, go over my profile and go to my IGTV and you can find all the episodes there. Or you could go to like KTalk758, my other Instagram, and you can find all the episodes there as well. Yeah.
Awesome. Any other upcoming projects that we should be looking out for?
I don't know what acting stuff. I don't know. I just, you know, just working and just. Oh, actually, yes. I would say our film just got accepted to ABFF Pride, which is very
Oh, wow,
exciting. I
nice.
just got the news last night, so that is something to look forward to. It was an LGBTQ film that I worked on, talking about the Jamaican experience in that homophobic society, and it was accepted to that festival. So it was like, this is really amazing. So that's something to look forward to. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Anything else you want to say before you head out?
Honestly, just stay safe and just keep creating. Thank you for
Yeah.
having me, Nase. You're
Thanks
awesome.
for being here. No. Alrighty, so we'll get you your audience clap out.
Oh, I get a clap out.
Of
Ooh,
course. Bye.
bye.
Groovy. We have some more cool people to talk to today. A lot of awesome projects. Everyone's doing such cool things. It's going to be a lot of fun. So up next, we have another wonderful young person. We have Laquan Dawson. Laquan, come on out. Oh, I see we're clapping in the comments too. Thank you. Thank you. I need the help. All right, they're coming from through the curtain.
Hi,
Hello.
how are you doing?
Welcome, welcome, welcome. I love
Thank
your
you very much.
background.
Thank you. My living room.
It looks fantastic. Dang.
Thank you.
How are you today?
I'm great. How you feeling?
I'm good, thank you.
You look good.
So, to the millions of fans out there, could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah. Okay, so again, my name is Laquan Dawson. I'm a 25-year-old creative from Elyria, Ohio. I moved to New York about 4.5 years ago to work in fashion, actually, and I worked in fashion for about 2 years or so before I realized um, it was a little violent for me personally. I like wasn't into it. It was kind of hurtful. I witnessed a lot of people being kind of like very mean to innocent people, and it just didn't feel like a warm space, and it didn't feel like where I should be. So I transitioned out of there and started doing photography and filmmaking full time. Um, and it just has fed me in such a different way. I wanted to do something that I felt like was helping people, and that was good, and that was helping people like me like feel seen and protected and appreciated and things like that. So yeah.
Wow, fantastic. So I have to admit, I did look at your Instagram before this, and then when you said that you used to work in fashion, everything made sense because all your outfits look fantastic. So
Thank you.
Ohio, New York, that's a really big move. How was that?
Yeah. It was not extremely easy. I think like the my first 5 or so months, I was like living in like a basement in the Bronx, and
Oh.
like I had no money. It was like really just like on whim. So it was really hard, and it's very different here as well. And to be out here like with no family, it was like a lot, but I handled it, and now we're here.
Yeah, yeah, it worked out.
Mhm.
So during the Bushwick Film Institute's workshop, you made a film called Beyond the Battleground. Can you tell us a little bit about what that documentary was about and why it was important for you to make it?
Yeah, totally. So Beyond the Battleground, we made this short because kind of what I was just talking about. Um, I feel like our stories like are not being really told, and people aren't really asking us kind of questions about like who we are and like what our experience is. Rather, I feel when I do see like Black and queer folk represented, it's so often minimal,
Mm,
sidekick token, and just kind of for appearance or just so they don't seem problematic,
mm,
where I think on the flip it's like we're not really like treated or looked at or used as people, but just kind of as bodies,
mm,
um which is like a complexity for me, especially just coming out of like the workspace in like the town that I was coming out of,
mm.
and not being able to, kind of have a voice. So Beyond the Battleground, we asked these Black queer folk, it was about 4 or 5 people, about love, like where they learned to love. We talked to them about femininity and how they show up in the world, and just really how that informs the way they like walk or they don't walk like through the streets. So yeah, I thought that was important just because um, I don't think that it's happening frequently and like on a more regular basis that it needs to be.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. So that ties in wonderfully with the rest of your body of work. Your entire body of work really beautifully explores themes of intimacy and sexuality and blackness, often through representations of the human body. So why do you feel it's important to see Black bodies in this space and in this way?
Hmm. It's interesting because I think that the things that I've been interested in since I was like a kid, and just like growing up and becoming more interested in, and the things that I like were interested in private or I spoke about in private were not things that I was like allowed to talk about, or I wasn't allowed to take pictures of these things. So when I first like picked up a camera, honestly, I was like taking pictures of like water and trees, and I was like talking about like video games and graphic design and like making flyers where I like wanted to talk about fashion and dance and boys and things like that. So a lot of like what my work is doing now is kind of playing catch up
Mm,
for like what the first 20 of my years I couldn't do, and I'm 25 now, and so like I like it's a, you know, it's kind of a lot to catch up on. So sometimes I kind of overwhelm myself or overdose on this playing catch up sort of idea. Um, but in also too, intimacy and love and sexuality and like the body are just things that are always like at the top of my head, and they are things that I want to see more of. And so like it's just inherently what I kind of go to when I pick up the camera. It's not always extremely planned. Sometimes, and a lot of times it really is just like an organic things like, huh, I guess this is like what I'm thinking about, and that's why this came out. Um,
mm.
mhm.
That must be so powerful to feel that you're now in a space that you can artistically explore the things that you want to explore. That sounds fantastic.
Yeah, and especially being in New York versus Ohio and versus like being there to my parents and being in like such a conservative town and city and
Mm-hmm.
college, it is nice to be able to just like stretch so far and just kind of do like whatever I want and have it be welcome and appreciative. Um, and like having like found such a amazing community out here of people who like support and like want to watch me like build and grow and work and like want to hire me to work and to tell these stories. It really has been just extremely freeing and beautiful. And I was talking to my friend the other day. I'm like, this is like it's a really great 25, like for like my career to be like where it's at, and for my body of work to be what I want it to be. And like I work on the things I want to work on and not the things I don't want to. And I get to tell stories about Black gay people and queer people and trans people, and I get to ask them like about their parents and who raised them, and I get to like record them dancing or like hire them to, you know, make music and sounds and things like that. Whereas I kind of grew up just like around a lot of white shit, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just crazy that my life and my work could be something that is so just enamored in like literally like just, can I say niggas? Just niggas. Sorry.
Yeah, go
um,
for it.
so yeah, it is really freeing. And I feel like I get to be like myself, and I get to just, you know, do the things that I want to do. Where I
Mhm.
think Ohio just wasn't going to be possible for me, at least not at this age.
Yeah, no, that's spectacular. Absolutely. So, I guess going back to the beginning of your artistic, I guess not career, but where you started to explore these things, you said that you had begun to explore through self-portraits. Do you feel that this has impacted the ebb and flow of your artistic journey thus far, and more recently in your films?
Yeah, I would say absolutely. I did start in self-portraiture, really just kind of taking like a cute MySpace or a Facebook picture or something like that. And that kind of turned into me taking other pictures of like of people, and then getting into fashion once I got into college and taking those kind of shots. But now the way that it informs my work is one, I get to study myself, and I get to study my body in a way that um, and document and archive my body and like myself in a way that is really special to me, especially just looking at a picture maybe I took like 8 years ago or 4 years ago, and then like one that I took yesterday, and just seeing like how like my technique changes, like how like what I'm paying more attention to, like how my body changes, like how where I'm gaining weight, um, like how long my hair is growing, and just like things like that, and just kind of really being able to put some sort of mirror to myself, and also creating a conversation that is like confronting like what my honesty with myself is, I guess. And so the way that that informs like the rest of my work, my films, I'm asked the questions that I'm asking myself and the things that I'm looking at on myself. I'm looking at in like my subjects in my community, and I want to ask them those questions because I often ask like, so why are you like this? Like, why do you like this color? Why do you talk like this? Why do you love the way that you love? And so I kind of have those conversations with myself and with my friends. And so once I'm approaching like a film or a documentary or like a short or just a photo series, I'm trying to ask like my subjects those same questions because I'm curious how we are similar and how we are different.
That's very interesting. So obviously we cannot ignore everything that's going on politically right now. Coming from Ohio and then moving to a big city like New York, how has the Black Lives Matter movement impacted you, coming from somewhere that's so different and being in New York now?
So excuse me. Well, so coming out of Ohio, like I was already coming out into myself, and I was doing like graphics and images for our Black Student Union at my college, and so I was already like really aware of like what was going on, and I was already trying to put my foot in the door to like helping and like in the way that I knew like I could help you know, progress the movement and just create change. And so once I got here, I started doing I started marching in like the protest and like in the pouring rain and being in the city and stuff all like that. And so now that they're kind of becoming big again, like people are protesting more again because things, you know, keep on happening, unfortunately. I haven't been so much like in walking and marching in the protests. What I'm trying to do now is focus and continue to focus like all of my work on like Black people and on like the protection of and the visibility of Black people and Black trans people and Black women and Black gay men and you know, not just cis hetero men. And so like what the Black Lives Matter movement is doing for me right now is I think it's beautiful, and I'm glad that it's happening. It sucks that it has to, but I'm glad that we're, you know, kind of taking charge and making sure that we're, you know, taking what we need to take. But what I guess what my role is in this more recent you know, time is really trying to make sure like my community over here is like also protected. Like Ayana Dior and like people like myself and like Yari and just making sure that we're like protected and still being seen and respected and loved, and not in that things are getting riled up and stories are being told when it's like a queer body or a woman and not just when it's like a straight Black man. So I think I'm being affected in the way of I'm like, so what is my role here? Because I think that there are a lot of people doing this, and like I need to like make sure that we're like being spoken about and attention is still given to us and things like that.
Wow, fantastic. That's very powerful. So before we let you go, any upcoming projects? What should we be looking out for?
You can look out for whatever's gonna come. But I would love for people to check out. I dropped 3 experimental documentaries in May called Moby Talks. There's 3 different ones that focus on the Black queer community. And the first episode talks about love and sexuality. The second one talks about mental health and healing, and the third one is talking about identity. And like all 3 of them are projects I'm really proud of. You can find them on my Instagram, IGTV feed, all 3, the full episode, or you can go on mobynyc.com/talk, and all 3 episodes are there. They're like 30 minutes each. Really great films with like a lot of people in the community, and it's yeah, that's what I would love for people to you know, focus toward.
Lovely. Any parting words? Anything you want to tell your fans?
My fans. No, I just want to say, I guess, move with love, you know, forgive yourself, be patient with you guys yourselves, and yeah, I love y'all. Thank you so much.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. All right, we have our outro clapping. All right, round of applause for the clock. Amazing, amazing, amazing stuff happening. Everyone's got such cool projects coming up. So make sure when this is all over, you go over to their pages, their Instagram pages, their websites, check out what they have going on. Also, we did an Instagram live conversation yesterday as well from 7 to 8. So if you have time, I know you have time, you're all at home, go on and check out that one as well. We were speaking with some other young Black filmmakers about their projects and their perspectives. So it's super interesting. I'm going to take a sip of water. Everyone, you can watch me take a sip of water. Enjoy. My name is Nasay DeSanders. I hope you enjoyed that sip of water. Up next, we have Sania Hayat. So let's get that round of applause going for her. Woo, yeah, more applause, guys. I couldn't hear you. Louder applause. Keep it coming, keep it coming. Sonia's coming through the curtains. She's coming out. And here she is. Hello.
Hi. How are you? Thank you for having me. I'm a
No, of course.
a little bit.
How have you been today?
I am great. I'm great. I'm just ending my day. But you know, the sun is shining. Everything is well.
Yes, glad to hear. I'm loving that positivity. So could you tell us a little bit about yourself, a bit about your bio?
Absolutely. Well, I was born in Jamaica, New York raised. I went to NYU to pursue acting, studied there, did 2 years, like got my degree, did 2 years in the Atlantic studio, then decided that I was afraid of Shakespeare. So what else to do but to dive in? So I switched over and studied classical training, had a classical training for the final year of my college journey. And after that, I moved to Bushwick and I decided to continue pursuing acting and yeah, just living life and living the life of an artist. Seriously.
Wow. Absolutely lovely.
Yeah.
So we'll jump right in.
Yeah.
It is no secret. Jordan Peele seems to be a filmmaker that you look up to. What about his success story inspires you?
I love Jordan Peele. Many things. Like he's not just one thing. He's multi-talented. So that's something that you just have to, you can't help but to be inspired by him. So that's one. And two, being an artist who's, I consider, like, I'm an actress and I just switched over into the directing field. But he also writes and he edits and he knows what he wants. He's very specific about his plots, his journey, what the message that he wants to give. And it's beautiful and inspiring to witness. And I can only like wish to be that specific. You know, like it's just amazing. It's beautiful, I believe.
So what is your favorite Jordan Peele film thus? I mean, we only have the two to choose from, but there's going to be more for sure.
Yeah.
And you can't say Candyman yet, because that we haven't seen that one yet.
No. It's definitely Get Out.
Yeah.
It is that, because that was the film that really pulled me in. Like, he's done many comedies, he's done many other things, but at the same time that I was stunned by his artistry, his talent, his specificity in that film. So I watched and rewatched that film over and over, trying to study his technique, trying to figure out how his mind worked. So I have to give it to Get Out. Yeah.
Were you a fan of Jordan Peele? Was Get Out what drew your attention to him, or were you watching like the Key and Peele days?
I did, but it wasn't, I mean, yeah, but it wasn't like, oh, I want to be like, he inspires me. It was more so like, he's really funny. Like, you know what I mean? It wasn't anything. Exactly. Until I saw a completely different side of him that I didn't even know, like, knew existed.
No, exactly. Yeah, it really felt like it came out of left field. This like super funny guy all of a sudden is like, well, actually, I'm a genius horror
Exactly.
writer. Like, okay.
Exactly. Ah, Black
Yeah,
excellence. It's just amazing.
absolutely. Couldn't have said it better myself. So, um, you were a participant of the Bushwick Film Festival Summer Filmmaking Workshop as well. What was your most valuable takeaway from that?
Shout out to Kobe and BFF, dope. Um, um, my takeaway is definitely okay. So if you talk to Kobe or anyone who experienced that workshop with me that summer, the first thing I went in, I'm an actress. I'm leaving an actress. Like, that's just me. But I ended up directing a film. And now I consider myself not only an actress, but also a director.
Wow.
And I want to be both. And
Yeah.
that was definitely my biggest takeaway. Like, it inspired me. It planted a seed. It inspired me. And it what's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, it nourished this part of me that I didn't know needed nourishment.
Yeah.
It's everything I needed at the time that I didn't even know that I needed it. Like,
Yeah.
it was beautiful. I am super, super grateful for Bushwick Film Festival and how it just uplift and inspired us, like, and me, that group of people, and what it continues to do. It's just
Hmm.
amazing. Super grateful for it.
It's crazy how an opportunity like that can open up a totally new side of yourself that you didn't know you had. That's really cool.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I know. Like, can you imagine? Can I imagine? Like, I would only be, I don't know. Like, I would only see myself as an actress and not even know that there is this other side of me where it's just, and it's okay. Like, that's the thing. Like, a human being or an artist can be many other things and not just that one thing. And I think oftentimes we're forced to believe that if you say you're this thing, then that's it and that's all you need to be. But no, you can be awesome and great at both. And
Yes.
without Bushwick Film Festival, I wouldn't know that I can be awesome and great and more than one thing. Like,
Hmm. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. So, in a study done by the Center for Study of Women in Television and Film, in the top 100 films of 2019, 68% of the female characters were all white. Comparison, only 20% were Black, 7% Asian, 5% Latina, as a Black actor. What do you feel is the importance of having Black and other people of color visible in front of the camera?
That's a good question. That's a really good question. And I'm going to be completely honest, and I didn't know how important it was until Black Panther. And that was
Mm.
so recent. And I'm in my
Yeah.
mid-20s,
Mm.
And I was born in Jamaica and I lived there for the first 10 years of my life. And seeing Black people on screen wasn't as prevalent or what it is now. It wasn't something that I was used to seeing, and it was something that I accepted. Yes, I knew that I wanted to be an actress, but I didn't see it, so it also didn't stop me. So after seeing Black Panther, it kind of like restarted this engine that I
Mm.
didn't know that like died.
Mm.
It inspired me in a way where seeing so many Black bodies on screen, I was in awe. Like, words can't even express how the effect that it had on me. And I didn't know
Mm.
that I needed to see it. So
Yes.
me being in my 20s and how it inspired me, I can only imagine if I had seen that when I was 10 in Jamaica. I can
Exactly.
only imagine how the young kids feel and how they're inspired by it.
Yes.
Like, and this is why it's important. We need more Black bodies in front of screens.
Absolutely. Yeah, I
Yeah,
remember when Black People came out, it was a movement. The whole world, everyone was so excited for it, and just so much positivity around a film that has an almost entirely Black cast was so amazing and so positive to see.
exactly. Ugh,
So, so now, as
amazing.
someone who is dabbling behind the camera, do you also,
Yeah.
are you finding it more important to bring people behind the camera as well, people of color behind the camera?
Absolutely. They need to be in the room, behind the camera, in front of the camera. They need to be at the head of the meeting. They need to
Mm,
be everywhere. I think we're so reduced to stereotypes that we need to do everything we can to break those stereotypes and show that we are more than, like, way past what America think Black people are and is,
yeah,
like, you know? So
absolutely.
yes, we need to be everywhere at all times.
Yes. So, as someone who is not native to New York or not native to the United States, coming from Jamaica, how has the Black Lives Matter movement impacted you, and how have you seen the difference between things back in Jamaica versus here in New York?
Um, so it's interesting because when I first migrated to the States,
Mhm.
um, I was Jamaican. I didn't classify myself as a Black American. I was a Jamaican gal in New York City. So, like, I saw things differently, but being raised in New York, first of all, I was put into the, like, you're Black. You're a
Yeah.
Black American, like, regardless. Like, so because everyone saw me like that, then therefore I became that.
Hmm.
Um so it's wild only because moving from Jamaica to America, you see America as this, like, we literally thought that the streets were paved in gold. Like, it's the land of opportunities, that, like, anything can happen. But to come here, like, to have that, a piece of that American dream, but only to be, like, hit with obstacles and obstacles and obstacles, and, like, being pulled back and held back and etc., etc., experiencing it, seeing it,
Hmm.
it's it's definitely, it's a journey.
Yeah.
It's a journey for sure. I'm not even gonna lie. And then also, like, have to, like, go on and live your live your everyday life as if, like, you can't really
Yeah.
let it affect you the way it's affecting you, or you can't show that it's affecting you the way it's
Yeah.
affecting you, like,
Yeah.
so it's a journey. I'm very grateful that we are more together now than we have ever been, and we're sticking and we're fighting and we want to see change, and we're not giving up as easy as people would think. I'm very
Mm.
grateful for that, but I'm also hurt that it had to be that
Hmm.
to create change.
Yes,
It's heartbreaking to
absolutely.
um to balance those.
Hmm.
So yeah, to make a long
Yeah,
story short, it's a journey. It's a journey.
absolutely. Yes, it is a journey. So, could you tell us about any of your upcoming projects, what you're working on right now?
Yeah. Um, so Baby Mama Drama season 2 is a web series.
Hmm.
That's in the works, fireworks. So stay tuned for that.
Hmm.
Violent Nights are showing bits and pieces of like festivals, aka BFF.
Hmm.
um, and right now I'm working on a secret project that doesn't even have a name yet, and it's really about a Black woman experiencing what America is going through and how she wishes to fast forward her life, like, not experience all the hurt and heartbreak. Just fast forward to the part where it's better now.
Hmm.
It's we've been through that. We've created the change. So it's really interesting. It's exciting to be working
Hmm.
on it. Yeah.
So, where can we find your projects? Where should we be looking?
Instagram, I always post about the things that I'm doing. My website, Sonia Hyatt at SoniaHyatt.com.
Hmm.
And yeah, those two places for sure. I'm
All right.
always, yeah,
And the
shouting
secret
out.
project you will also post to those two places, right?
For sure. It doesn't have a
Okay.
name yet. So,
That's what we're
so
looking out for. We're looking out for something. We know that.
yeah.
Awesome. Anything else you want to tell the fans before you go?
Um, Black mental health is serious. And
Mm,
take care of you, heal you, still fight the good fight, but at the same
mm,
time, balance it with some love and some care because we're going to need you tomorrow.
mm. I love it. Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for being here. I love talking to everyone.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. We'll see you later, Sonia. Bye.
Bye.
We need our outro clapping. A round of applause, everyone. Yes, round of applause. It has been absolutely extraordinary talking to all these young voices, both yesterday and today. Everyone's got amazing ideas and such sensational, cool projects, such personal projects that they're working on. So again, absolutely check out their social media, check out their websites, check out everything they're working on because they're not working on it for 5 minutes. They're working really hard on these things. Let's all support them. Let's check it out. So thanks to everyone for tuning in. I see you guys. I see all these comments. I love seeing all these comments scroll through for tuning into our great discussions. I give thanks to B&H and Canon for the support in creating Bushwick stories. So be sure to follow them, like I said. And last thing, submissions have been closed for the 13th annual Bushwick Film Festival, but you can DM us for a special code that can be used until August 1st. So if you still want to submit, DM us, we'll send you the code and you can still submit. That is my gift to you for participating in our wonderful stories. So everyone, be safe, stay well. I have been Nase DeSanders and I am logging off. Bye.